Hello everyone, welcome to our section of HAF training. This is coming to you from the Columbia Barnard Head Advising Fellows from the 2021 year. My name's Angie, I'm a rising junior at Columbia College, and my other HAF.
I'm Quinn, I'm a rising senior in Columbia College.
And I'm Ashley, I'm a rising junior in Columbia College.
Hey, so the presentation that we'll be focusing on today is how to manage your AFLT in an efficient and productive way. So at the heart of all of our management and really all of our practices in our fellowship are our values. This will be whatever you make of them, but we have a sort of mantra that we carry forward throughout the entire work that we do to make sure that things are equitable and also centered in the guiding principles that we have decided as a fellowship. So ours are matriculated for everyone. We will practice radical candor, which means radical transparency, and we are building individual relationships. So I would recommend to find out what you hold as powerful and meaningful for your fellowship, but we just had those three to help guide our process. In our delegation and our management of our AFLT, we made sure that everything was centered also in the value of having everyone be empowered leaders. So this is a kind of buzzwordy phrase, but we'll try and break it down a little bit. That first, empowered leaders are enabled to excel in their strengths. That means that we're not trying to expect every single person to do the exact same thing. We recognize that all of our AFLT members were really, really awesome people with very different strengths. And we wanted to make sure that they felt comfortable excelling in what they're good at and growing in the things that they might not be. Second is that empowered leaders have ownership of their own projects and hold themselves accountable. This is a facet that we think is really important to make sure that people feel empowered, that they have ownership, that they have agency in the recruitment work that they're doing, and that they also, with that responsibility, comes a little bit of self-accountability. And then third, don't feel limited by hierarchy. This might be a little bit different from past HAF, AFLT relationships, but for us, it was the most productive and honestly, the most fun to work with our AFLT when we had a sense of trust and horizontality. And we think that when you're limited by a hierarchy, you're less likely to flourish and thrive in your position. So why is this framework beneficial as a whole? We'll talk about what this specifically means in just a second, but why is the framework of empowered leaders helpful? The first thing is that delegation allows you to fully develop sections of recruitment. Instead of everyone having a hand in everything, doing things pretty slapdash or hastily, one person really gets to have ownership and develop something really fully so that everything feels complete and feels well-rounded instead of a bunch of people having their hands in the same project and ultimately being less productive. Second, a sense of trust and horizontality fosters growth for everyone. And we also believe that holding ourselves accountable is much more productive than micromanaging. When, at least for me, and I think for a lot of leaders, we perform the best when we feel that we have creative freedom and we are able to hold ourselves accountable to the goals and the progress that we're hoping to see. When HAFs step in too much to track the numbers or track the goals and intercede in that manner, it can feel a little bit micromanaging and can put AFLT members down in a way that we're not hoping to see. And then the last thing is that, and this is a little bit snaky, but we think that empowered leaders and having their own delegated projects creates better professional development experience for not only the AFLT, but the HAF. So at the end of recruitment, you can sit down and really look at everything that you've done in the semester in a concrete form, whether you're working on social media, stakeholder outreach, etc. You have one field of recruitment where you put your heart and soul into and created actual quantitative outcomes that you are able to present going forward in whatever interviews or resume building sessions that you need to do. At least you have ownership over something and really can in-depth describe your work that you've done.
Great, thanks, Angie. So the first step in this framework that Angie outlined is, this is the first step that Angie and I did, which is that we really got to know our AFLT members. So before recruitment even started in July and August, we had preliminary conversations, one-on-one, two-on-one, me and Angie with each one of our AFLT members, where we sort of got their background on Matriculate, you know, what motivated their interest to join Matriculate and then motivated their interest in joining the leadership team. figuring out what strengths they really feel that they brought to the work, and where they really shined. And then also the areas where they really hope to grow and develop their skills in the role, in the leadership role that they're in. And also, starting to get a sense of what their work style is and how we should, as head advising fellows, should think about managing them. Even within this context of having empowered leaders as AFLT members, different people are going to want to be managed to different degrees. Some people thrive with no structure at all, where they're really the ones who are entirely shaping the path of their work, and other people prefer, some more clear buckets of responsibilities and some clear checkpoints that are maybe frameworked with their supervisors. And there are a lot of other styles within that you could also have. And so we're trying to get a sense of that as well. Once we had those conversations, Angie and I put our heads together and thought about how can we delegate these project responsibilities to our AFLT members. And then we kind of came up with our idea. We went back and we had another round of one-on-one conversations with our AFLT members in August, where we said, okay, here are the projects that we're thinking you could take on, and sort of let them work with us to finalize their areas of responsibility. And those areas of responsibility ended up being social media, stakeholder outreach to professors, classes, clubs, things like that, and then physical mass publicity and managing the previous fellowship. One example of how these conversations came into play for deciding these responsibilities, one of our AFLT members, Elle, told us that she really wanted to grow in her ability to manage people and to work with a lot of people and to kind of have that accountability aspect of helping people work together towards a common goal. And so we put her in charge of this third item of working with the previous fellowship to, make sure that they collected their flyers and helped us put up flyers and do all of the other sort of recruitment things that we were asking them to do. And then in our weekly war room meetings, we had AFLT members report in on their progress against their own goals and kind of set the tone and let us know what they were going to be working on for the next week. And we also made sure to recognize and reward innovation. We never wanted them to have a compliance mindset in these meetings, that we were coming in looking for, any particular outcome. And so, one example of this innovation is that our AFLT member, Michael, went and partnered with Columbia Dining and got Columbia Dining to sponsor a whole event in our dining hall that promoted Matriculate, and they gave us free food and we didn't have to spend any of our recruitment budget. And that was all Michael's idea. And we were so excited when he went out and decided to do that. So our third head advising fellow, our newest head advising fellow, Ashley, was actually one of our AFLT members, and she was in charge of our social media outreach. So I'm going to turn the time over to Ashley here for just a second, so she can speak to her experience with this model that we're laying out for you guys.
Yeah, so like Quinn said, I was in charge of social media as an AFLT member. I really liked this project plan that Quinn and Angie implemented because it really allowed me to just grow in the part of recruitment that I liked, which is social media. Another pro about this model that I really liked was the consistency that we had with our tasks, with recruitment efforts changing very frequently just based on the timeline. I loved being able to grow my specific project and really focus all my time on that rather than having to focus on multiple smaller aspects of the recruitment process. Also, with all of us becoming experts in our own little side project, it really helped us gain valuable insight to share with our other AFLT members of methods that worked with us. And it was always good to have an outside perspective, because sometimes when you're just so focused on something, having some new eyes really helped with anything that I needed. Unfortunately, there were some cons to this, in my opinion. At times I found myself comparing my progress from my specific project with my other fellow AFLT members and their projects. I think it's really important as HAFs to recognize this and just constantly remind and assure your members that any progress is good progress, and we are all ultimately benefiting our cohort with any work that we are doing, which I thought Quinn and Angie did a really good job on.
Great. So ends our very short presentation on managing AFLT. We don't have any of our contact information up, but just know that Quinn and Ashley and I are really excited about this recruitment cycle, and are here to answer any questions in this virtual training or beyond. So Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your training.
Bye.